Good evening, everyone. This is John Matrixx, and you're watching John Matrixx Talks Movies. Today, we're going to be talking about the 2010 movie Tron Legacy. This movie was released by Disney. It stars Jeff Bridges, Garrett Hedlund, and excuse me, and Olivia Wilde. I must say, I really enjoyed this movie. I did actually go and see it in the movie theater when it came out, and I saw it in 3D. And at that time, that was one of the most visually amazing movies I've actually seen in 3D at that time. Just to give you an overview, this movie is a sequel to the early 1980s movie called Tron. And this movie really focuses on Kevin Flynn's son. He goes to the grid that was created by his father, and he meets his father. He meets Clue. He actually gets to see the world that his father built. And his father has actually been trapped inside the grid for over 20 years, since I believe 1988 is what they say in the movie. And he's trying to go out and rescue his father and bring him home. So just to highlight some of the things that I liked in the movie, like I said before, the 3D is really amazing to look at. If you watch the movie, you'll see a lot of black and like grayish colors, so it looks very visually stunning. Especially the scenes with the light cycles. The light cycle scenes, and also the disc wars, looks very amazing in 3D. Even in 2D, they both really look good. Now, one of the things that I really noticed when I watched this movie is that there are a lot of references to the Bible. If you think of it, basically Kevin Flynn is God, and he created man, in this case Clue, in his own image. And Clue was designed to create the perfect system. And if you read the Bible, basically God created man, man was perfect, but of course man is going to fall. And in this case, Clue basically betrays Flynn and starts corrupting the system, repurposing programs for what he saw as perfect. So he thought that he knew better than Flynn. So like I said, he was repurposing programs for his own use, creating an army and everything like that. So it's almost like, you can basically say it's almost like the fall of man in a way. Another reference you can make is if you watch the Matrixx movies, Clue is really kind of like a version of Agent Smith. If you watch the Matrixx 2, Agent Smith starts duplicating himself and taking over other people inside of the Matrixx. So it's like a computer virus gone wild. So that's really what Clue is. He's the virus corrupting the computer system. Another thing I really liked in this movie, the soundtrack was very unique. It was made by Daft Punk. Daft Punk is actually a French kind of like techno musicians. They have like a lot of techno. If you went to like a techno club, you know what I'm talking about. It has like a lot of techno sounds, but it kind of has a lot of techno sounds that sound like it's still the 1980s. Because like I said in the movie, Flynn, he gets stuck in the grid since 1988. So during that time, you know, he only knows the music from the 80s. He doesn't know any kind of modern music or anything like that. So the soundtrack was made by them, and it makes you feel like, if you're an 80s kid, you know what I'm talking about. when you walk into the arcade, it's a lot of arcade sounds, a lot of, bells and kind of whistles, I guess you can kind of say. A lot of video games, you think of Pac-Man, those kind of sounds. That's what it kind of sounds like in a movie. And it does have an orchestral score based on their themes as well. But it's really, really good. What I didn't like, and these are just minor complaints, really. I really wish that Alan Bradley, who is Tron, I wish that he had a bigger role in the movie. Now, granted, 80% of this movie takes place inside of the grid, and Alan Bradley is not in the grid. He is still in the real world. But I really wish they could have found some kind of a way to expand his role, because the movie's called Tron, and Alan Bradley is Tron. But if you watch the movie, you really don't know that he is Tron in the movie, because for the most of the movie, you find out that Rensler is actually Tron. And Rensler has basically been corrupted by Clue. So that's the reason why I really wish that he had a bigger role. Also, there was a small cameo by Cillian Murphy, who you would know as the Scarecrow from Batman Begins, and he's also in The Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises. He's in the movie for about 5 minutes, and he's actually playing the son of the main villain in the original Tron. But he's only in there for like 5 minutes. The company that Flynn is in charge of, they're putting out a new operating system called OS 12, and it goes out on the internet for free when people were supposed to pay for it. And Edward Dillinger just basically says, relax, just say it was a gift from MCON, and he disappears. So that's his role in the movie. So I really wish that he kind of had a little bit bigger role in that. But overall, I mean, that's just minor complaints. But there's a lot of world building in this movie. Clue wants to create the perfect system, which is basically a perfect world. And living in our world, you already know that nothing is perfect. Flynn created the system, the grid, and the grid itself is not perfect because Kevin Flynn is not perfect. But to the programs that are in the grid, they look at him as God. There's even a scene where this one program sees him and she's kneeling down praying like she is seeing God. But she doesn't realize that he is not perfect. So there's a lot of biblical references in this. I guess you can kind of say that he's kind of like God, but he's also kind of like, well, no, he's God to them, but he's not really Moses. That's what I was about to say. There really isn't a Moses per se in this movie. But the seeking perfection, I guess, is kind of the theme of this movie. Yet you can't obtain perfection, and even Clue, as a program, doesn't know it. So Clue actually thinks he can try to get into our world, the real world, and take over and make it perfect. Now, you actually don't get to see him get into our world because he is actually stopped by Flynn. But just to think of it, if he actually did get into our world, I think he would have been kind of disappointed because he can't make our world perfect. Our world is not perfect. It's never going to be perfect because we are imperfect. Okay? So, but there was actually a sequel that was actually planned. It was Tron 3. It was going to be called Tron Ascension. Um, Disney had green lighted it and everything, but it was actually put on hold and it was completely disbanded. I think the reason for that is at the time, Disney owns the MCU and they had just bought Lucasfilm, and those are just mega box office gold brands. Those are billion-dollar franchises. So I guess they put everything else on hold, and they were making so much money on the MCU movies. I mean, I was watching Infinity War today. That movie is absolutely amazing. Star Wars, those are gold mine movies as well, even though I don't think they've really been making great movies with Star Wars, but they still make a lot of money. Um, but I really wish they would make Tron Ascension. I know that the reviews for Tron Legacy were kind of mixed. I actually really thought it was a really, really good movie. Um, of course, they can do more, but I think if they were to actually make Tron 3 and kind of connect it to Tron Legacy, I really think they could have been on to something kind of special there. That's just my take. Overall, I would give Tron Legacy a 7.5 out of 10. I thought it was a really, really good movie. I'm just surprised that it actually took 25 plus years to actually make a sequel to the original Tron. I faintly remember the original Tron. I've seen it a few years ago. I really, really like that movie. Visually, of course, it doesn't hold up because we're dealing with like 1982 technology, and the grid looks very, very 1980s, I should say. But anyway, that's my take. If you did enjoy the commentary for today, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, and we will catch you guys next time.